Our next speaker is Tim Powers, Director of the Aggie Honor System Office, who will be talking to us about the Aggie Honor Code. So, Tim.
All right, howdy. Thank you for being here this morning. Thank you for allowing me a few minutes of your time to visit with you. As mentioned, my name is Tim Powers. I serve as the Director for the Aggie Honor System Office, and I like to roam around, but this is like a really small area for me to roam, but I hope I won't step off the stage. So who is familiar with the Aggie Code of Honor? Anyone? I see several hands. Good. So after this slide, you will all get to raise your hand. Ready? All right. An Aggie does not lie, cheat, or steal, or tolerate those who do. This is part of the job that our office facilitates. We are responsible for introducing this and educating the student body about the Aggie Code of Honor. An Aggie does not lie, cheat, or steal, or tolerate those who do. This applies to your everyday life. We hope that you strive towards emulating this in your everyday life. We also hope and expect that you strive towards emulating this in your academic life. And that's where the other part of what our office does really comes into play. We are responsible for academic integrity on campus. Academic integrity means a number of different things. And you can see here, the university has defined that 9 different ways, from cheating, plagiarism, falsification, complicity. Some of these are more likely to be engaged in by graduate students. Graduate students are more likely to make the mistake of engaging in these, and I'm going to talk to you about some of those. Some of them, you're more likely to not engage in them. And you see some of my favorites have good stories with them. You see unauthorized access. Don't go somewhere you're not supposed to be. Our office was created in 2004. I've been here since 2011, so don't blame this one on me. But in 2005, we had an undergraduate student who could see a problem in space, and you would all want him working in your labs, I promise you. But he could see a problem, and then he could design a tool to fix that problem. And his problem was he wanted to be on the other side of a locked door. All right? And so he designed a tool that he could slide under a door and get it to curl up on the other side and grab a handle on the other side and pull down, and he could open a door. Some of you don't design something in your mind. You're like, that's easy. I could do that. Don't do that. But he designed this tool, and he was breaking into faculty members' offices, and with the intent of stealing exams that were to be given the next day. He was intent on changing his grades. And so the department became aware of this. They set up a camera and they caught him doing this. So they got him on camera doing this. And they turned all of this information into the Aggie Honor System Office, and you see unauthorized access. There was all kinds of problems that this young man was going to face. And then the night before the hearing, where he was probably going to be expelled, all of the evidence disappeared. Because they forgot to take his tool away from him. He ended up, there were backups. He ended up being expelled anyway. But so that's not the kind of thing that graduate students are going to do, right? You're not going to use your powers for evil, okay? Please don't. You're here, but you might engage in academic misconduct inadvertently. And that's really where academic misconduct from graduate students is going to occur. So seriously, I want to visit with you just for a few minutes about where you're going to occur, where that's going to occur for you as graduate students. So cheating, the university has defined cheating as intentionally using or attempting to use unauthorized materials in an academic exercise. It goes on to say that unauthorized materials is anything or anyone that has not been specifically approved in advance by the instructor. Okay? So I used to dislike strongly the university's definition of cheating because it's so broad. The university has eliminated everything. You can't use anything on an academic exercise unless the faculty member specifically says you can use it. Now I love it because we don't have to tell faculty, you don't have to stand in front of a classroom and eliminate the 85 things that you don't want students to do. You don't have to say, put your phones away. Don't use the writing that you have on your hand. Don't use the notes that you curled up and shoved inside of your mechanical pencil. Don't use the notes that you wrote on the inside of the water bottle label before coming into, like, we don't have to do that. The faculty member just has to say, use the paper that's on your exam, on your, like a scratch piece of paper, the exam and a pen, and that's it. Okay, so use that and think about that as you are entering your classroom. Think about that as you are a TA. If you're a graduate teaching assistant, think about that as you set up expectations for your students, and be very careful about that. Plagiarism is the most common violation that we see from graduate students. You can imagine this because you spend so much time writing, producing the written word, whether that's lab reports, articles, dissertations, thesis. Be very careful. Who in the room knows the keyboard shortcut for copy paste? And the rest of you are lying to me because you've forgotten what the Aggie Code of Honor says already. But I would encourage you, you're writing an academic paper, you're writing something for homework, please forget and don't use Control-C, Control-V. Because, and I shouldn't have even told you what it was, just in case you didn't know, right? This isn't a how-to class. But I would encourage you to not copy paste anything. If you feel like you need to take a direct quote, then use quotation marks and type it out. Otherwise, copying and pasting is a very quick way to get yourself into an allegation of plagiarism inadvertently. Plagiarism can occur inadvertently and through carelessness. We have students every semester who accidentally copy and pasted, or they tell me that they copy and pasted into their work. Sometimes I tell them, you copy and pasted 4 pages into a 7-page paper. I don't know. I don't think that's right. But they copy and paste into a paper, but it's still plagiarism. So be very careful with that. Please work on your paraphrasing, practice paraphrasing, and then cite very carefully, because that's where students, graduate students in particular, get referred to our office. Complicity is helping another student engage in academic misconduct. Think carefully about working in groups. You're going to build community. I love that about our graduate student population. You're going to build community. Be very careful when you come together to create things. Please be very careful. A lot of times it can be very healthy. It can be solid. It can be good. But visit with your faculty, visit with your committee about whether or not that's appropriate to do, because that's the only and best way to not get referred to our office. And then falsifying and fabricating data, of course, are things that graduate students, these are big time mistakes for graduate students. I would encourage you to avoid these at all costs, whether that's falsifying lab data, research data, anything that would remotely endanger the results that you are working so hard for. A lot of things that get referred to our office, cheating, plagiarism, and complicity. We work hard to help graduate students overcome those mistakes. And we will work hard to help you overcome falsification and fabrication mistakes as well. Don't get me wrong. But falsification and fabrication mistakes are a lot harder for your faculty mentors and advisors to overlook, because those types of mistakes can follow you for a long time if you're entering into a research field. So please be very careful as you discuss and engage in those. All right. So what can happen as you enter into, and if you are accused of academic misconduct, the range of sanctions can go from a 0 on an assignment all the way up to separation from the university, which is a nice way of saying suspension or expulsion. And guess what? So this is where the rubber hits the road for graduate students. You've been a graduate student. You have been in higher education longer than the first year student who just walked onto campus this semester. So the expectations for you are going to be higher. You can't plead ignorance about plagiarism and about cheating and say, I just really didn't know that I couldn't copy and paste 4 pages into a 10-page document. I'm sorry. It's not going to fly for you. It doesn't fly for freshmen either. It doesn't fly for first or second year students either. But the sanctions, the outcome is going to be more severe for you, because the honor council, the decision makers in these processes, are going to look at you and say, really, you've been doing this a long time. You really should have known better. So please keep that in mind. And then finally, students who may move through our process, and this is another big one, may be placed on a status of honor violation probation. Honor violation probation is different than academic probation. It's different than unsatisfactory academic progress. Honor violation probation is a restriction that can restrict students' access to certain financial aid. It can restrict access to the ability to represent the university, and it can restrict your ability to engage in certain types of opportunities and professional development that are really important to graduate students. Again, please don't, I'm not here to be the bad guy. I'm not here to, I had a faculty member compare me to a Voldemort earlier this week, but, and it was really, he's like, I heard that you're Voldemort, but you seem like a really nice guy. Yeah, I think I am. But so I'm not here to bang the cymbals and scare you. But the reality is I don't want you to be referred to our office. The reality is my life is better if I don't meet you under these circumstances. I would much rather meet you in another environment. Or if you call, or if you want to ask questions about academic integrity, that's great. Don't be referred to our office because you have been accused of academic misconduct. That's what I don't want. And then, so finally, if you are teaching and you encounter this in your students, you are required under university rules to refer these things to our office. You are required to, if you confront this, if you sanction a student, if you take action against a student, you are required to refer these things to our office. Sometimes you have to walk your supervising faculty through that process a little bit. And if you have questions about that, we would love to help you do that. Our office is intended, we are designed as a resource for you as students. We are designed as a resource for you as faculty. We're designed as a resource for you as graduate teaching assistants, as individuals. And we're designed as a resource to put up with angry parents and attorneys. So that's kind of what we do. All right. So thank you for your time. We are here to help if you need anything. Here's some contact information. We would love to answer any questions proactively. We're designed and we are a reactive office, but we would be happy to help in any way that we can. Thank you and welcome to Texas A&M.